Welcome to our virtual admitted student reception. My name is Bobby Gandu. I am Assistant Vice President and Director of Admissions. It's our great pleasure to have you here today. I know it is early on a Saturday morning, perhaps early, depending on what time zone you're in. And so appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. Our goal today is to make sure that you get better connected with Wichita State. All the students who have been invited to attend this event are admitted for this fall semester. And so for some of you, you may be considering all your options for college search. And for some of you, maybe you've already decided that Wichita State's the right fit for you. So wherever you are in your journey, we're really thankful that you're going to spend some time with us. Our hope is that after spending some time with us today, that you feel more informed about Wichita State, what the next steps are, should you want to be a shocker, and then help to explain what the next steps would be if you want to continue to move forward with your journey to Shocker Nation. So that being said, we have different speakers that are going to come forward today. My role is to get us started. And here in just a second, I'll introduce our first speaker. Then I'll cover a few slides about Wichita State and what's going on. And then I will transition over to one of our colleagues in the Office of Admissions who will MC the rest of our program. And she'll make sure she introduces all of our respective colleagues from other departments and units that are gracious enough to join us on a Saturday morning. So with that being said, and then by the way, for those of you who are interested in some individual questions with either our financial aid team or our housing team, those professionals are on the line today, and they are able to do a really limited set of questions, or a limited number of appointments, I should say, at the end of the Zoom. So if you're able to stick on and you have some individual questions, we'll do our very best to get you into a specific private room so you can have a conversation with them. That might be they'll give you the opportunity to ask very specific questions that you may have. But I should also note that they're not going to be able to get into a lot of detail. We want to keep it moving and give multiple students an opportunity. So it might be that they encourage you to reach out to them next week once the offices reopen, or schedule some other additional virtual opportunity. So just be aware that those appointments and those questions will need to be very brief. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to get started. So our very first speaker is someone I am so thrilled is able to join us. His name is Lucas Webb. He's originally from the Wichita area, and he attended Wichita State as an aerospace engineering major. And so he has an incredible story. He has since graduated from Wichita State, and he is living not in Kansas anymore, so we miss him a lot, and I know his family misses him here, but he is living out in California, so he's joining us really early. He's an incredible young man. When he was a student at Wichita State, all of us thought this is a young man to watch, because he is going to do some incredible things in the world. So I'm going to let him tell his own story. Please help me welcome, though, Lucas Webb.
Well, thank you for that more than generous introduction, Bobby. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Hope you're having a good morning already. As stated before, my name is Lucas Webb. As you can tell in the picture by the khaki pants and the polo shirt, I have my degree in engineering, graduated in the lovely golden year of 2020 with my bachelor's in aerospace. And right now I'm an engineer at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works out here in Palmdale, California. And I'll tell you a little bit more about myself a little later, but we'll go through the actually important stuff first. So let me start by telling you why I chose Wichita State. So I'm sure it's similar with a lot of you. For me, scholarships and cost of my education, as well as the strength of the program for what I wanted to go to, were my top two criteria that I wanted to kind of base my search off of. So I have a couple of numbers under that first bullet point there. About 230 per credit hour was what I recently saw was the most recent tuition rate for WSUs per credit hour. And as I'll talk a little bit more to later, I'm currently doing a master's degree at the University of Southern California. And that 2,100 per credit hour is USC's rate for their tuition. So, I mean, public versus private, there's obviously a difference there, but I mean, wow, 10 times as much for really the same kind of education. Really, I remember taking a class last year that was almost a repeat of a class I took in my undergraduate. So, you know, luckily my employer is paying for most of it now, But if you can pay a lot less for the same quality of education, then I mean, do it. Obviously, the strength of WSU's engineering program, and particularly aerospace, which is what I was interested in, was a big factor. And along with that comes the experiential learning opportunities. And that is something that Wichita State pushes a lot, and for a very good reason. It's something that I wish I would have taken more advantage of. I did get the opportunity to participate in a NASA internship at NASA Ames in Mountain View, California, between my junior and senior year. And so if you look at the picture there, that's a picture of us. And if you didn't know, NASA Ames is home to the world's largest wind tunnel. And so we got to go in and take a tour of that. And that is the drive system, the turbine that moves all the air. That's only one of them, though. There's 5 others surrounding that. So you can imagine how big that is. So that was a pretty cool experience. That, along with NIAR, the National Institute of Aviation Research that's on campus, gives students a lot of different opportunities to get involved, kind of get their foot into the industry. So things like that, I can't stress enough, are so important to try and seek out during your time here, or in college in general. And the last thing that really pulled me towards Wichita State was the community. For me, Wichita was a really good mix of having a city feel and a college town. Wichita is certainly a city on its own. It doesn't need Wichita State to flourish, but Wichita State is certainly an integral part of Wichita. And we love our Shockers in Wichita. So it was a really good mix there. That, along with the staff, I felt was so friendly and so invested in my personal strive for success. They were always there to help whenever I needed, always there to talk whenever I needed. And I think that's really important, and something that I haven't necessarily gotten a feeling from a lot of the other colleges that I've visited. So we can go to the next slide. And so involvement, along with that internship experience, involvement is also something really important, both to just feel like you belong in campus and to just supplement your experience in college. But you can also use it past college for your job interviews, or to put on your resume. Some things that I was involved in: Shocker Freshman Council, which is sadly now dissolved. I don't think they've reinvigorated it yet, but it was essentially something to get freshmen involved in student government. So I was also involved in student government. I was an honor senator for 2 years. I was an ambassador for diversity and inclusion. I was also in the Honors College Student Council. And I'm sure Bobby might appreciate me mentioning I was in a Student Ambassador Society, and that's also where I got to know my now wife. So, involvement has its benefits in a lot of different aspects. And one more thing that I wanted to point out, I highlighted under student government, student fees. And basically, student fees is a committee that you can get involved in. It's comprised of students from all the different colleges. You come together and you determine if your student fees are going to increase, decrease, stay the same, and you get to help delegate where that money goes. And so, I mean, personally, it was just really fun for me. But also it was a really great talking point in interviews for jobs, because not many people get to say, before I graduated college, I got to help manage a $10 million budget. That's something that sometimes employers perk their ears up about when they hear. So, get involved when you can. It'll help you personally, and it'll definitely help you in your career after you graduate. We can go to the next slide. And so some things that helped me prepare for my specific job that I have now mostly revolves around hands-on projects that I did in undergrad. So this picture here is a picture of my senior design project that I did with the team. Our mission was to basically design, build, and test a high-powered model rocket. So that's a picture of it taking off there. I don't think Jane is on the line, but she helps out with the admissions team, and her dad actually took that picture for us. So he's really involved in the rocketry community down there. So I appreciate that. But what really comes from these hands-on projects is one, communication. And, that's really important in your projects and your career and just in life in general. For career, I don't think I've seen a job posting that doesn't say good communicator as a requirement. So really teaches you how to do that. As far as technical development, especially getting knowledge of tools that I use now. So every day that I work, I use a software called CATIA, which is essentially a 3D modeling CAD program. And I had an entire class on that between my freshman and sophomore year. So it was really nice to get that experience and kind of already have that edge over some people. It's one thing that they don't have to teach you, so that's always good. And again, previous work experiences, internships, co-ops, even side projects. I know looking at some SpaceX applications, a lot of them say they like 1 to 2 years of experience, but they say hands-on student projects count as that time. So, this student project took me 1 year. That's already 1 year credited towards that requirement. So again, I really wish I would have done a little bit more earlier than I did, but just get as much experience as you can. And we can go to the next slide. So what do I do now? As I mentioned before, I'm pursuing my master's in astronautical engineering at USC, focused on space propulsion. I'm doing that online now because where I'm at is about 2-hour drive in rush hour, and I'm not doing that during the weekdays. So it's really nice to have that online option. I also started, I started at Lockheed about almost 2 years ago, but I just now started something called the ELDP, the Engineering Leadership and Development Program. And that's essentially a program that takes early career professionals and essentially trains them to be leaders within the company. So it gives you a lot of leadership training, technical training, and it also lets you do 3 one-year rotations within the company in different jobs that you kind of want to do. So I just started that in January, and my first one is in RF engineering, which is radio frequency. So we deal with the integration of antennas within a plane, things like that. I'm really enjoying that. Couple personal things. Last year, I bought my first house. I got married in September. So 2022 was a big year. I'm trying to take 2023 to recuperate a little bit. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I know I went through things a little fast. So if you have any questions at all, please reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out through LinkedIn. Yeah, there's my email there if you want to send me an email. If you have any questions or just want to chat, we alumni love when people reach out. So please don't hesitate. And thank you all, and really congratulations on this big achievement.
Lucas, sorry, got lost in your presentations. I was just enjoying it. First, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And for those who joined a little bit late, Lucas is based in California, so it's really early for him. So particularly thankful that he was able to join us. Lucas, will you talk a little bit about, if you're able to, I'm not sure if there's some confidentiality things for your employer, but with where you are working, I know you just joined the team, but the Skunkworks team was working on the Maverick plane for Top Gun. So I guess again, I know that was kind of in the works before you joined the team, but could you talk a little bit about that and your kind of awareness of what the team did for that project? And by the way,
Yeah,
do you want to explain what that is? Sorry, what
yeah,
that
so
is and all that? Yeah.
yeah, so for all of you that haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, this is the new movie that just came out. Lockheed Skunkworks, if you saw the plane, came up with that concept essentially. And we actually built a legit model for it. It was kind of cool. They got to kind of bring it out, show it around at the air show and stuff like that. But they got to let employees come in and take a tour of it. And we even got to sit in the cockpit of it a little bit ago. So that was really cool. Brian Hirschberger, who is actually also an alumni of Wichita State, and I connected with him. He's kind of my mentor. He was kind of the lead design on that. And so it's just something really cool. We make planes for a lot for the military, but it's also really cool to have kind of this other, I guess, aspect of the industry that we can help out with. So yeah, that's kind of what we did with that.
Thanks for humoring me and explaining that a little more. You know,
Absolutely.
Lucas, we brag about you all the time. We're so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. But I've been telling people since you joined that Skunk Works division about that story and the Maverick plane, and that Brian was involved in the leadership for that as well. So again, Lucas, thanks so much for joining us. We're so proud of you and all that you do professionally, but also just the way that I know you'll continue to rep Shocker Nation. So give our best to your wife as well. Tell her we say hello. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, it's my opportunity to talk with the rest of us about what is going on at Wichita State. So because you all are admitted to Wichita State, you're getting our propaganda via email, text message, videos, all the things, all the time. So we know that you probably know a lot about Wichita State and you don't want to hear too much about certain things anymore. But we do want to make sure we push forward one particular initiative that we're really proud of, and that's really important to us because it's important to our future and the success of our students. And that's this initiative that you see here. So the Shocker Success Center construction is well underway. So to help you have some context for this, this is going to be a complete renovation to a 4-story building. So it's a complete reno and gut job, if you will. What's happened is our business school recently, as recently as this fall semester, moved into a brand new $60 million building on campus. It's a real treasure. Some of you may have already seen it. It's a really beautiful space for business majors and also other majors to go through and have opportunities to take classes and have a sense of community. That being said, the business school vacated this building that you're looking at here in this slide. Well, that building is actually very centrally located on campus. It's right next to our student center. So what we're doing now that the business school is out of it, we are completely reconfiguring that building. And our goal is to take all of these services that you see listed here, and actually a few others. Just to be specific, you can see that our one-stop student services team, whom you'll hear from just a little bit later, they are located in that building. Our Shocker Support Locker, which is a judgment-free zone for our students who might have some food insecurity, to go in to grab food for free. There's also personal hygiene items. Our career closet provides clothing for students who might have an upcoming job interview, and that's all free for students as well. There's going to be some tech help. So if someone is having problems with their laptop, they can go in there and access that service. So you can see the full list. We have these services already, but what we're doing is the challenge for us is that they're in 12 to 13 different buildings on our 330-acre campus. So what we're doing is we're going to centralize all of these services and put them into one building. That building is right next to our student center. We are intentionally giving up high value real estate because we want students to be able to access all these services on a regular basis. So construction is underway. There's going to be a lot of headaches going on really for the next year or so while we finish up the construction. But the hope and the plan is for this to be open sometime around the summer of 2024 and the fall of 2024. So for those of you who might start at Wichita State, you would certainly be able to enjoy this new renovation and renovated building on our campus very soon. All right, next up, I want to just highlight one thing that you've probably heard about, but I always just like to brag about us a little bit, and that is where we're going as an institution for the future. We have really staked a claim on being the innovation campus in Kansas and in the Midwest, meaning that we took a 120-acre golf course that was on our campus. That was a full 18 holes, and several years ago, we closed that, and we sprung up an innovation park where we have more than a dozen buildings already constructed and more on the way. And in those respective buildings, you see the logos of all these companies and organizations who are occupying that space. These companies and organizations can only have that space if they promise to hire Wichita State students as interns to work alongside their professionals. Our prime example that we frequently talk about is the Airbus. Airbus has roughly 300 professionals working on our campus to do plane design and other engineering work for planes. And so our students, who particularly might be any of the engineering majors, they also hire business majors. Our students are literally going from a classroom experience over to their internship right on our campus. So again, you see a diverse set of logos and companies there. So we always just want to remind students that this is where we are staking our claim. Last year, our students earned nearly $29 million in internships and on-campus student wages. So while we know college is there can be very difficult to pay for, and we want to help with that through not only the traditional methods of scholarships, financial aid, Pell Grants, loans, those kinds of things, but we also want to try to help our students find real world experience that is paid to help offset the cost of college. So you can see here, just coincidentally, there's this picture of Lucas that you can see. This was when he was interning out at NASA. He kind of mentioned that. So obviously we utilize this slide in this presentation for various receptions that we're doing right now for admitted students. And so it's just coincidental that y'all got to actually hear from the legend that is Lucas, and he got to talk about his experience. But what we do brag about is that Lucas had multiple internships before he graduated. And that's true for a lot of our students, not even just our engineering majors. A lot of our students are marketing majors, communication majors, graphic design, even students who are majoring in some of the liberal arts and sciences have great opportunities for multiple internships in our community and elsewhere. And then the last thing that you see on here in the top right, we do like to brag about a recent visit we had from the director of the National Science Foundation. It's a federal agency that exists and gives out billions of dollars a year to various colleges, companies, research areas, because they're obviously trying to advance various causes in science. Well, the director of the center, the National Science Foundation, came to campus recently, and these were quotes that were all obviously things he shared about his observations while he was on our campus. And specifically, it says, "I always believe that the real work happens in places like Wichita. Wichita State is truly an example." I don't think I'm speaking for him because he basically said it. He was just kind of blown away at all that Wichita State is doing these days. And so just something we wanted to remind you about. All right, next up, I think I have a quick video that is going to be showcasing actually one of our graduates who also happens to be our mayor of the city of Wichita. So hopefully it works. Sometimes there's a little bit of lag, so just bear with us if the audio lags a little bit from the video.
I think Wichita has been this incredible, well-kept secret where a lot of folks don't know exactly what Wichita is or what we do have here in our community. And I'll tell you, I think we got a little bit of everything. My name is Brandon Whipple. I'm currently serving as the mayor of Wichita, Kansas. I graduated Wichita State University in 2005 with my undergrad degree, and then in 2007 with my master's degree. My experiences at Wichita State is why I'm here right now. Originally, I was going to be a social worker. While I was at Wichita State, it's a small enough university in which someone like me didn't feel I was intimidated to get involved. So I wound up actually getting involved with the Student Government Association and learned about the different levels of government and the impact those local and state level governments have on our lives. Led me later to take an interest in public policy, which had me run for office, and I became a state legislator for 7 years, and later I was elected to become mayor of Wichita. While I was in the legislature, I was approached by one of the professors over the political science department who brought me in to teach a class. Really love it because not only does it get me in the classroom and hopefully give me an opportunity to inspire that next generation to take on public service, but also just seeing how far Wichita State has come as a campus and as a university. One of the things I tell people who aren't from here is you'll be amazed at what we actually have here in Wichita. It is a big city as far as amenities, but it has that small town, small community feel, the place of opportunity, not just for quality of life, but also professionally as well. I'm the first in my family to own a house, and that's because I live here in Wichita and cost of living is affordable. Wichita to me was really that American dream. You will find your niche, you will find your community here in our city. we want to grow and help people here also be able to grow towards what they feel their calling is.
All right, so hopefully that came through for you. It's one of our Shock Doc series. So we have a whole library of those on our YouTube channel in case you're interested in watching more profiles and perspectives of our students and graduates. Okay, next up, I've got a checklist showing. You're more than welcome to take a screenshot of this or a picture if that would help you kind of move along in the process. So there's various things that are actually going to be highlighted through from the upcoming speakers we have here this morning. So I'm not going to go too far into this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The next kind of big things coming up, though, are to make sure that you've opened your MyWSU account and set that up. Housing will be on here shortly to talk about what you need to do if you've not already submitted your housing application. I do want to make sure I mention our ZME community. That is an app you can download for Apple or Google or Android devices, and that gives you an opportunity to connect with other future shockers. We have heard a lot of feedback from students who have utilized it to find future roommates, future friend groups, future coffee groups. We've had some student organizations get started through the ZME community. So if you are looking for connections to other students who are attending Wichita State, download that ZME app. It's really worth it because there's just great conversation and games going on. And particularly, we've noticed over the summers, as students are getting more and more excited to start college, we find that there's great dialogue and opportunities for students to connect with one another. Next up, the enrollment questionnaire you'll hear about very directly from our one-stop director, so I won't steal his thunder. But I would point out that that is open right now. Students can complete and submit that enrollment questionnaire, so Aaron will talk a little more about that. But maybe the last thing I'll just mention is May 1st. On May 1st, it's kind of a national celebratory day where students all over the country often announce where they're going for college. And so we do encourage students to post if they are attending Wichita State and tag it with Future Shocker. You can do it on any of the various social media platforms, so we'll do our best to find it. And what we do is we provide scholarship dollars for some of the best posts that we see, and we do give out quite a few of those for those posts. So something to keep in mind. And also, spoiler alert, we'll send you a little something along the way to help you with those posts. So keep your eye out sometime in April in your mailbox for that. Oh, and I should mention, speaking of mail, all of you will be receiving soon something from our City of Wichita mayor. It's a special greeting that we worked out with him. So if you haven't already received it, you'll actually be getting it soon. I see if you had not, so maybe some students have already received it. So, all right, next up, we always want to make sure students are aware of all the things that they can be engaged and involved in should they be at Wichita State. I think Lucas did a really nice job of highlighting a few activities that he was involved in. Just some of the very specific things. We have almost 17,000 students this past fall, meaning that there's a diverse array of students. So we think we can help you find your people, your community at Wichita State, because we do have such a broad array of students. We are NCAA Division I. Students get to attend all of our home athletic competitions at no additional cost. So you'll get tickets to men's and women's basketball, volleyball. Our softball team is in the top 25 this year. They've been in the NCAA tournament regularly. So all of those sports are going to be available to our students to watch as a spectator and cheer on our Shockers. In addition to those tickets being available at no cost, students also get the YMCA membership. That is good, not just at the brand new YMCA that's on our campus, but the other 9 YMCA properties in our community. So if you end up living off campus later on in your time as a Shocker and your place of residence is closer to a different YMCA, you can keep utilizing the entire YMCA network in Wichita. And I always point out, I know nationally, YMCA is obviously a brand that exists. In some communities, it's perhaps not as advanced. We are super proud of our YMCAs in Wichita. They are amongst the best in the country. YMCA professionals from all over the country actually come to Wichita, Kansas to figure out what the heck we are doing in the YMCA system in Wichita, because it's really well known nationally, and they're really proud of everything that we offer there. Next up, we have lots of student clubs and organizations that you see there. So we just want to make sure you're aware that we're going to do our very best to help you get connected. To help students get connected, you'll be able to experience during the first 2 weeks of school something called Welcome Fest, where we have a whole range of activities and opportunities for students to get to know one another, to get to see what student organizations they can be a part of. So to that point, I have a 60-second video that I'm going to show you that highlights the first 2 weeks of experience on our campus just this last fall. All right, so that's what you would have to look forward to the first couple of weeks of school. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to have one of my colleagues take over on the share. And I have to check out because I have the joy of getting to go watch my children play basketball. They're ages 4, 6, and 8. And so I've got a big morning ahead of me to watch a little bit of YMCA basketball. So that being said, I'm going to pass to my colleague. First, I'll go ahead and pass to my colleague, Mandy. But before I do that, after Mandy from our housing team is done speaking, you'll hear from Kayla Hasso. Dr. Kayla Hasso is one of the directors in our Office of Admissions. So she is going to take us home on the rest of our program and give you an opportunity to make sure you hear from all the other speakers and close down our program. So with that being said, I'm going to pass to Mandy, but before I do, Kayla, I see that we've got a block in the middle of the screen. It might just be a share issue. But next up is Mandy Craven, or excuse me, Mandy Madewell. Sorry, Mandy. She is a senior staff member in the Office of Housing and Residence Life, and they do a really great job, if I can brag on them, about taking care of our students. I just had a recent road trip with the director of housing, and she was taking calls for all the things going on in the residence halls, and they work really hard to make sure our students have a first-class experience. So without any further ado, I'll pass to Mandy to have her explain what's going on with housing.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. As Bobby mentioned, my name is Mandy Madewell. I can forgive him for the slip up of the name. I got married in 2021, but have been at Wichita State for a number of years, and so everybody knew me by a different name at that point. But my role is our Associate Director for Business Operations, and so I work with the team to really help our students kind of before they get to WSU to really feel that kind of WSU vibe before they even set foot on campus, and make sure that you kind of find your home away from home a little bit. So we can go ahead and get started in our presentation here. So housing at a glance, excuse me. So as you saw, Bobby mentioned that we have about 17,000 or just under 17,000 students that attend Wichita State. And of those, about 1,400 live on campus with us within 3 different community buildings that we have. Within those buildings, we have 37 or just a few more actually student staff members who are upperclassmen students that live on the floors with our students. They're there to be a resource. They're on duty in the evening times. They provide some social programming, some academic programming, but they're really there to help our students kind of, again, find their niche, find their group, and just get connected to the campus. In addition to those student staff members, as a whole department, we have about 30 full-time staff members. I think we're actually just about at 40 now, because we've kind of bounced back after the pandemic with kind of refilling some positions. And that's split between 3 different kind of branches of our department. So as I mentioned, I'm our Associate Director for Business Operations. So we're a little more behind the scenes, and we work with our summer groups that come to stay with us on campus, as well as the students. Our Residence Life team, who are where our student staff members that live on the floors, our RAs, and our full-time staff that live in the buildings as well as part of that team. And then we have an in-house facilities team, which we're really fortunate at Wichita State to have in-house facilities. So we have both a custodial and a maintenance staff member that's on call. They know our buildings in and out. And so in the event of an emergent situation or something is broken or just needs some attention or some repair, we can call out a staff member that is kind of at our response to be able to do that. Not a lot of campuses have that. They're fortunate to have that. And I've heard from some of our students that then move off campus later and are trying to get a custodial on-call person or a maintenance on-call person at their apartment complex is always sometimes a challenge. So we're really fortunate that we have staff to be able to assist our students when they need to. And we can go to the next slide. So why live on campus? Now, depending where home base is for you, you may be required to live on campus, but I can say from a student perspective, growing up in a town that I went to college in and only living a block away from that institution, it really is a benefit to live on campus your first year as a freshman, even if you're not required to do so. Nationally, we find that academic performance from our students that live on campus, they're more engaged in their classes, they're right there when they live on campus, so you're able to go and get up for that 8 a.m. class. You don't have to worry about where you're going to park, trying to navigate your way there, especially if there's weather. It is convenient. Your ability to manage your time is a lot better. And that social and personal development, you heard Lucas talk about that during his presentation. You'll probably hear some of that from our students here a little bit later. But you really are ingrained in campus. You get to the feel of the culture. You know, the campus doesn't shut down at 5 p.m. Students still live there. There are still activities, as you saw in the videos, that are happening, and that happens at all hours of the day. And so you want to be able to be part of that and feel like you're part of that, as well as those different organizations and student groups. If you're living on campus, again, you don't have to worry about going home to an apartment or going elsewhere and then having to drive back or whatnot. So it really allows you to be engaged in the campus. We are a very diverse community. We have students from all over the world that live on campus with us. Safety and security is one of our top priorities. All of our buildings are locked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Only the residents that live in those buildings are able to get to that space. In addition, that's what some of our staff members are there for. As they're on duty, they do rounds. They're there to help provide support or provide some safety and security for our students that live in our buildings as well. So we can go ahead to the next slide, Kayla. So where are you going to live when you come to WSU? So one of our first year buildings is Shocker Hall. It's kind of our flagship building for WSU, for our residence halls. It's surprisingly our oldest building, being built in 2014. So it's only just about 9 years old at this point now, which is great. You're in kind of a state-of-the-art building, but it's first year students only. It's an 800 space building, kind of broken out into 4 different building communities, as you can kind of see by that picture there. Each bedroom is furnished with a bed, desk, chair, dresser, all of the amenities that you would need in there. All of our buildings are also suite style. So for us, the days of needing your shower caddy and walking down the hallway to a community shower or community bathroom, that's not the case for us at Wichita State. So all of our buildings are suite style or apartment style. So there's a bathroom within each suite, and there's 1 to 2 bathrooms per suite, just depending on the layout of the suite. And you'll see here in the next pictures in a moment. It is a community laundry room, but all of our laundry is free across campus. So you don't have to worry about having quarters or using your debit card or anything like that. It is free, and we actually do have technology where you can log into an application on your phone to see what machines are actually open, or if you have closed in a machine, how much time is left on those. Shocker Dining Hall and the Groundhouse Marketplace are located here within Shocker Hall. Our front desks are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have full-time staff that sit at those in the overnight hours, again, to be that resource to provide that safety and security for our students as well. And then lastly, all of our living learning communities, or LLCs, are located here in Shocker Hall as well, to be kind of located centrally in the heart of campus. Okay, there we go. So like I said, these are two of our most common room layouts for Shocker Hall. So there's the double 2-bedroom suite. This is what we consider kind of that traditional room or suite style experience. So there's a shared bedroom space kind of split by a half wall where 2 students share that bedroom space. And then there's 2 students on the other side that share that bedroom space, and then a bathroom between them that's shared between all 4 spaces. Those doors can lock from either side. So obviously if you are wanting to be in your room and you don't want your neighbors across the way to have access to your room, or if you're going to be gone, you can lock your door from that bathroom access. Again, that security is still a paramount piece for us. The other most common room type is our single 4-bedroom suite. And as you can see, this has 2 bathrooms between it. But if you're wanting a little bit more privacy, each student that lives in this space has their own private bedroom, and they share some common space. And then 2 students typically share each bathroom through the side there as well. So those are kind of our 2 most common bedrooms or suite style rooms that you'll find throughout our building. They're scattered throughout, so it's not designated to one floor or another, or one building or another. There are a number of other styles throughout the building as well, but these are the 2 most common that you'll see throughout our building. So we can go to the next slide. And then the other place where our students, our first year students will live is the Suites. And the Suites is actually our newest building. It was built in 2019. It's located over on that innovation campus or innovation park area that Bobby was talking about earlier. It is our first year. It is a first year student building only. It's a little bit smaller community. It's 220 spaces. And the majority of these rooms are that single room style, but shared by 2 students that live in that space. Each suite actually has laundry in unit. It also has a small kitchenette with a full-size fridge, sink, and a little bit of counter space. And then, as you can see in the middle, the bathroom is shared by both students, as well as the vanity and the other common living spaces. The beds are actually full size over at the suite, so they're not twin XLs as you might find in other campus spaces. In Shocker Hall, it is twin XLs over there. This building is located right across the walkway from the Flats, which is our upperclassmen apartment style building. So if we do have any transfers that are on here with us, or if you're kind of looking ahead to what your next year might look like as a sophomore or above, we do have housing for our upperclassmen in full apartment styles. Our other front desk is located and is also again open 24 hours in the event that you would need something in the evening hours. 3 a.m. We know students are open or up that late. So if you need something, our staff are there to assist you. We can go to the next slide. And again, for our upperclassmen students, or if you're looking ahead for the next couple of years, this is our Flats apartments. There are a couple of different style configurations to this building, but it is for our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, as well as graduate students. We house about 400 students in this building. Each apartment is a full apartment. It's got a full kitchen, washer and dryer, and a private bathroom for each bedroom. Whether you share that bedroom or not, it depends on the layout. There is kind of a clubhouse recreation area that we have pool tables, foosball table. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got the little slidey puck thing with the sand. I can't remember what that's called, but that's in there as well. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on what that one is. And then also we do have, what's that?
Shuffleboard?
Shuffleboard, yes, shuffleboard. That's the word. Thank you, Bobby. And then there is also underground or surface parking available. So if we have students that they want to be able to park under the building, there is a garage that our upperclassmen can also choose to do that in there as well. All right. So one of the great things that we have in our housing community is our living learning communities. And these are a small kind of cohort of students that either based on an academic program or interest-based program that our students can participate in. Again, as you probably saw on the last screen with Shocker Hall, that's where our living learning communities live in. But this is a program that our students can choose to participate in. There is a little bit of a cost associated with that, but if that is a concern for students, we can work with students on that. But that is really to help connect either students to an academic program, to other students that are interested in that community. So for example, fine arts, while we do have a College of Fine Arts, we also know that students often come to campus that have been involved in music or theater or drama or whatever it might be, but maybe that's not your area of study. Perhaps you just want to still be involved within that community and you just enjoy the drama life or the stage, or just want to meet other students that are really interested in that. You can still participate in that community, and it kind of allows you to form a cohort. You already kind of have a built-in support system. You may be in some similar classes. As you can see, this was a photo taken from one of the programs that our engineering LLC put on and worked with some of the students that lived on that floor that year. And so it's just a really great opportunity to connect with other students, but also with their faculty or staff members that are in that college or in that interest-based group as well. So it is still open within the application if you haven't applied for that, but you're still interested in that. It is still available to participate in that for this next year if you want to. Where are you going to eat? So we've talked about where you're going to live. Food is the next best thing as well. So we do have several different opportunities for you to utilize your meal plan that is part of living on campus. Shocker Dining Hall, it is a great option. It's located in Shocker Hall, and there are, I think, like 6 different stations where you can get food throughout that facility. One of the great things that I really appreciate is that the dining hall is unlimited. Our meal plans for our first year students are an unlimited meal plan. You do get dining dollars as part of that if you want to go eat at one of the retail operations I'll talk about here in a minute. But when I was going to school, I had to kind of piecemeal out. I got 10 meals per week was the plan that I chose. So how many, okay, if I ate breakfast today, maybe I don't eat dinner on campus later on this week. You don't have to do that. You can go in as many times during the day, the same day as you want. So maybe you have that 8 a.m. class. You roll out of bed because it's right next door, because you're Shocker Hall, roll bed, you go down to the dining hall at 7:30, you just grab a bowl of cereal and you are able to eat your cereal really quick. You go to your class at 8 a.m. You come back from your class, it's like 9:30 or so, and you want a fuller breakfast. You can go back in the dining hall through that same breakfast dining period, and it doesn't count against you at all. So you can go in there as many times as you want. You don't have to piecemeal out when you're going to eat, where you're going to eat, any of that. If you're looking just for a quick snack, or if you're wanting to do one of the other options, retail options, like I mentioned, there are dining dollars that are part of those plans. You can go get coffee or a smoothie at our ground house. There's some basic grab and go items or basic medication toiletries. They do sell laundry detergent in there as well. So again, if you're trying to do laundry, you don't have to go off campus. You can go get your laundry detergent through the ground house there as well and use your dining dollars for that. In our Radigan Student Center, we do have a lot of our retail options. So Panda Express, Freddy's, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks are kind of our big ones. We have a rotating one that will continue to rotate. Right now, it's called Breakfast and Company. Their chicken and waffles is amazing. I highly recommend it. But I have heard that that will be a kind of rotating location potentially as well. Our students can use their dining dollars down in the Shocker Grill and Lanes. So if you're wanting a pizza or a different sandwich, then you can get at one of the retail operations, you can go get that down there. And then the Cargill Cafe that just opened at Woolsey Hall, our business building that Bobby was talking about earlier, you can use your dining dollars there as well. So there's a lot of great options across campus of where you can go to use your dining plan. And then what do we do? So like you saw, there are a lot of different opportunities to get involved on campus, but also within the residence halls. So we do residence hall wide programs or floor programs. Again, sometimes those can be social in nature. They can be academic focused in nature. We actually just did like a how to create your budget for some of our students, as we know some of our first year students are potentially looking to move off campus for the upcoming academic year. They're going to need to learn how to budget so they can pay rent and they can pay utilities or all these other things to make sure that they are going to be successful off campus as well as they were on campus. So we do a lot of different kind of programs or activities. We take a lot of our students to the other campus activities that are available. I talked about the living learning communities. Shocker Athletics, Coke Arena is right next door to Shocker Hall, as well as Cessna Arena for our track programs and things that are happening there, as well as our intramural sports. Those are very popular on campus. Perhaps you're involved in athletics in your high school career and you're not going to compete at a collegiate level, but you still want to be involved in some sort of athletic activity or event. That's a great opportunity for you to be involved in our intramural sports programs. And then again, as Bobby mentioned, there's a lot of student organizations. It's pretty easy if you don't see an organization that's available, as he talked about through ZME, you can connect with other students that maybe have that similar interest, and you can kind of create that registered student organization if that's something that's not available currently at Wichita State. All right, so the application process is open. We do have the 23-24 application open. You can apply for that today. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend that you do that. We just passed our second early bird deadline. That doesn't mean that housing is not available for you. We just try to create those deadlines in there just so students can get in a queue for room selection. That's the next step that will open for us. We just opened where you can, the students that maybe you've met through the ZME app, you can actually now connect with them on our application as a roommate group. You need to be connected as a group in order to go through room selection and get everybody pulled into that next step there. Room selection begins kind of in the end of March. We do stagger it a bit just based on, like I said, those early bird deadlines of when you might have completed your application. There will still be room for you to live on campus. Do not worry about that. We make sure that all of our first year students have a place to live on campus for sure. So just be watching your Shocker email for more information as you are looking for information of what the next steps are. Everything will be going out here about a week before your room selection time would open for you. So we highly encourage you to start checking your WSU email. If you haven't been doing that already, you'll start getting much more notification from not only the Office of Housing, but other offices on campus, some of those that you'll hear from here at the rest of this presentation.
Mandy, is that the end for you here?
I think so. I think we might just have one more slide that has our contact info on it. There we go. So if you do have any other questions, I will be staying on here afterwards if you have some specific questions about your application or kind of where you're at in the process, or if you have any other questions, if you need accommodation for any reason, I can kind of walk you through what that process looks like here after the main sessions are over. Otherwise, this is our contact info. Please feel free to reach out to us. No question is a silly question, especially if you're coming to Wichita State from quite a distance. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable with where you're living.
Actually, Mandy, there was a question in the chat.
Sure.
Can you go more in depth of food accommodations, like if someone has food allergies or they have a certain disease that just prevents them from eating certain foods? Can you just go very briefly into that? Someone asked in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So accommodations are the big question that we get. I'll actually answer it both from food and from housing side. So food accommodations, if you have a food allergy or other dietary restriction, whether that be for medical or religious reason, we do have a form on our website, the housing website, that's listed there. At the very bottom, you can fill out food accommodation request form is actually, I believe, what it's called. You can put your information in there. It'll ask for your contact info. It will then also ask a little brief synopsis of what their situation might be in there, as well as how we might be able to assist you. We work with our dining service provider. They really evaluate to see if they can assist you with your dietary restrictions. If they can't, they may exempt you from the meal plan at that point in time, or offer you a lower or reduced option from that. But they really do want to, again, make sure, we know food insecurity is a big concern for some of our students, and we want to make sure that you're getting a healthy, nutritious meal. And so they want to try to accommodate our students as best they can. If you need a housing accommodation, we've had students that have vertigo and they need to be on a lower floor because going up and down stairs or an elevator could be a problem, or they might need their own bedroom specifically. We try to connect all of our students up with the Office of Disability Services first, because oftentimes we find if you need accommodation in housing, you may need additional support and accommodation in the classroom. And so we want you to be connected with that office to start with. So we request that you fill out their intake form, which is available on their website. And they'll work with you to make sure that they meet your accommodation need. They'll supply that with our office of what you're needing to live on campus. And then we will just assign you that room space as well.
That was great. Thanks so much, Mandy. Again, if you guys have specific housing questions, keep those in mind. And as soon as this is over, you can chat with Mandy to get those answered today. All right, so next up, we're going to see how well you were paying attention. We have a quick trivia question. So the way that it will work is I will advance to the next slide. The first person to type the answer into the chat will be the winner, and we will be mailing out prizes for our trivia winners today. So here we go. When does room selection for students begin? I'm going to wait until one of my colleagues tells me that somebody got it right.
Oh gosh, there's lots. Oh wow. Okay, everyone had it, but the first one I see is Olivia Robertson.
Okay.
End of March.
Awesome. Okay, Olivia, we'll mark your name down, and don't worry, everybody, there are more trivia questions coming. But next up is our current student panel. So I'm going to ask our current students who are on to go ahead and turn their cameras on. And then we're going to go through and have them introduce themselves. So this would be a great time if you have any questions about what it's like to be a student at Wichita State, making the decision, living on campus, any of that, then that would be a great time to do that. You can start to put those questions in the chat now, but I'm going to go ahead and ask each one of them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Kylie. Kylie, can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Kylie. I'm a freshman at Wichita State. I am double majoring in political science and economics, and I'm minoring in Spanish. And I'm from Concordia, Kansas, which is a small town about 2 hours north of here.
Thanks, Kylie. Riley, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Riley. I'm also a freshman at Wichita State. I'm a major in biology and a minor in chemistry. And I'm also from Concordia, which is 2 hours north of here, if you heard Kylie.
Awesome. Lennox?
Hello, I'm Lennox Fox. I'm majoring in ITMIS, which is fancy for business side of computers instead of engineering side of computers. And I'm also involved with the Honors College. And I come from a small town called Kinsley, Kansas, which is about 3 hours away from here.
Thanks, Lennox. And Ainsley?
Hi there, my name's Ainsley. I'm currently studying for entrepreneurship here at the Barton School of Business. And I'm going to break the trend. I'm not from Kansas. I'm from Plainfield, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago.
Awesome. Thank you all. Well, I'm actually going to ask the first question, but please, students, feel free to, or parents, type questions in the chat. Since we have all first-year students, I am curious, what's the big difference in living on campus than it was living at home?
Well, I can jump in real fast. The main thing that I found that's different is that there's a lot more freedom to do things like at your own pace. But also with that, there's a lot more of like, oh, there's small things that I didn't think about having to do on my own time, like doing my own laundry or randomly vacuuming the dorm. There's just small things that you don't think about until you have to start doing them by yourself.
I can also hop in. I think the biggest thing for me is, so I come from a small town that our town's population is around 1,000. So coming to WSU and living on campus, it's my town's population several times over. So that was just a really big difference from me personally, but I know that's not going to be the same for everyone.
Riley or Kylie, anything that you have noticed that's different living in the dorms than it was living at home?
Kind of like what Ainsley said, it's a lot about holding yourself accountable for things. Like, I know I didn't ever used to like do my own dishes and stuff when I was living at home, but like obviously now I have to. Cleaning your room every week. Riley and I are roommates, so we do a Sunday reset every week where we like deep clean everything. And I definitely recommend doing that at least once a week because it really helps with my mental health and it also just keeps our space clean.
That's great. Well, I don't see any questions quite yet unless I missed any. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys what you're involved in and how you got involved in those activities.
So,
No,
nope.
you can,
Okay, I'll go. So I am involved in a course, SAS. I'm also in the honors college, and even though I don't work on campus, I found this organization through campus called Enovar, and so I work at Textron Aviation as an IT help desk person. The honors college is really nice because it's located in Shocker Hall, where most freshman students are going to be if they decide to live on campus. And what benefits of joining the honors college is, yes, you have to take like one more class a year, but you also get free printing and a lot of other benefits like smaller classroom sizes and first pick on enrolling once you're out of that like first semester. And yeah.
I'm also, we're all in SAS, the Student Ambassador Society. I'm also in the Honors College. I am involved in the Pre-Dental Student Association. And then I am, not most recently, I am a transition mentor. So if you come over the summer for your orientation, you will see me. And that's, I think that's all I'm in.
So I'm obviously involved in SAS. I'm also in Student Government Association. I am an underserved senator and I am the Ways and Means Pro Temp Chair. I'm also in a sorority on campus. I'm in Alpha Phi. I got involved in student government by being confirmed at the beginning of the semester, but elections just opened up. So I'm going to be running again for that and possibly for Senate leadership. And then as far as the sorority, you could do formal or informal recruitment. I did informal recruitment because formal recruitment kind of scared me, but it's really nothing to be worried about at Wichita State. So
I'll say I'm in Student Ambassador Society, like everyone knows, like all the other students that are here currently. I'm also involved with the esports team on campus. Oh, I'm not an official member. They do have different non-official teams that are super, super fun to play with. Besides that, and being in the honors college, I've just also been involved with the intramural group here, which is super fun. I 100% recommend you guys all try it out.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we did have a question about communal kitchens on campus. So does anyone want to talk about the kitchen options and then any rules that relate to using those kitchens in the residence halls?
I can hop in that. So for Chakra Hall, each floor level, like if you're on the ground floor, the first floor, whatever, all has a kitchenette building shared from everyone in the entire dorm system. And I think it's C building, and everyone's welcome to use any on at either floor. And it's kind of just like you be courteous to others. You clean your own stuff, you bring your own food. Well, yes, you're allowed to use the ovens and stuff. You just have to be mindful of others who are also trying to use the room, and also make sure you don't burn anything down and get things properly ventilated.
That's great. I have another question, and I'm actually going to direct this to Riley, since Riley is part of the executive team for Student Ambassador Society. Are you required to live on campus to be an SAS? And what about if you can still make the meetings? I'm guessing they're saying, what if you live off campus, but you can still come to meetings?
Yeah, you don't have to live on campus to be an SAS. I think a good majority of us are not, especially once they get to be more upperclassmen. They might be living off of campus, or they might live in the Wichita area with their parents. But we still will accept you. We'll still, you'll be a great addition to the Student Ambassador Society.
And I'm going to put a plug in because I'm one of the advisors for Student Ambassador Society, as is Quinn, who's also helping out today. We just extended our application deadline to March 19th. So if you are interested in applying, you can just go to Wichita.edu/SAS. We can put a link in the chat here for you if you want to check it out, and we would encourage you to apply if you're interested. Lennox, I have a question for you. If you're admitted to the Honors College, are you required to live in Shocker Hall, or can you live in the suites?
You can live anywhere if you're admitted to the Honors College. So how the Honors College work is you apply to be an Honors College student, and there's a little application through that. But you don't have to live on campus, and you can enjoy the exact same benefits. It's just another way to get involved on campus, and they're leaning more towards like community service in the Honors College too. So I know there's a lot of events surrounding that. So it's for everyone, no matter if you live in or on campus.
Great, thank you. I'll let anybody answer this one. Is there a fridge in the kitchen that you can use?
Yes, there is, which is really handy because it's one of the bigger fridges, but I would 100% recommend just having your own fridge in your dorm, because it's a community fridge, and unless you're putting your name on it and checking it every day, it could walk off. And if you really want to hold on to that food item, just keep it in your dorm, honestly.
Great, thank you. This is a good one. What did you not bring as a new freshman to campus that you maybe regret, something you wish you would have brought with you when you moved in?
I can answer this one. So Riley and I live in the single 4-person dorm, so we've got 2 additional roommates, and we did not think of bringing a vacuum cleaner, but luckily our roommate Tessa brought one, so we kind of mooch off of her for that sometimes. But I would definitely recommend bringing a vacuum because, like, you know, stuff happens. You might need to vacuum something up. So,
anyone else have any suggestions of something that you wish you would have brought with you?
So for the first week, I forgot to bring like most necessities that like you don't really think about. Like, oh yeah, I always have cleaning products at my house. Oh yeah, I already have all these utensils at my house. And then you get here and you're like, no, I don't. I don't have those things.
I'll
All right.
also say, bring more utensils than you think you need, because you will come into an instance where, oh, you've made food and you're like, oh, let me share food, or you just made yourself something quick to eat, but you decided like a couple days ago you didn't want to clean anything because sometimes you just be like that. And then you have no forks and you have to eat ramen with a spoon. So just bring more than you think you need. Honestly, if you think about it and you're like, I only probably need 1, bring 2.
Awesome. We also had a student ask, what is SAS? I will let anybody who wants to answer that go for that.
Student Ambassador Society is a very prestigious organization on campus. So it works very closely with the Office of Admissions. And so we help out with a lot of admissions events like the ones that we have today. And then we have bigger events like Shaka Saturday. If you participated in the Distinguished Scholarship Invitational, DSI, then you would have seen us there. Pretty much anything that we need to help with prospective students, then we are there. And it's just a great way to meet other people that are also interested in service and community building on campus.
That was great. Thanks, Riley. All right, I'm going to ask the final question. I'm going to say most memorable moment at Wichita State so far for you. And whoever is ready can go first.
So my most memorable moment is when I was deciding to choose colleges. I decided just on a random day that when I saw like a black and yellow invitation in the mail that, oh, I'll go to it. It was something cool. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I just knew instantly like this is where I wanted to be. It was like a life-changing experience. I was just like, it's so community surrounded and I don't feel like um an outsider here, even though I come from like a very small town. And so that was like a really big moment for me.
Anybody else want to share their most memorable moment so far?
I think, and this is going to be a funny one. It's not going to be as like touching as Lennox's. First time I saw the Spider-Man on campus. We have a Spider-Man on campus. He's cool. He hangs out and we have a lot of fun. I've interacted with him a singular time and that one time was fantastic. I also want to mention we do have 2 more questions in the chat.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you guys to hang out, maybe answer those in the chat for us so that our next presenter can go. But I want to give Riley and or Kylie a chance in case you thought of something you wanted to share that was memorable to you so far.
Yeah, I would say probably my most memorable moment from Wichita State thus far was Welcome Fest. I loved Welcome Fest, especially Clash of the Colleges. LAS did not win, but we got 2nd place, so we were like right up there. But it was so fun to just hang out with people from my college. We did the whole face paint thing. And yeah, it was really fun. And then I went to an Ice Cube concert afterwards. So that was cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say Clash of the Colleges, but Kylie kind of stole that one from me. But Clash, I don't know if we've really talked about it all that much. It is, it's part of Welcome Fest, and it is just a way that all of the colleges come together and they compete in sort of like miniature games, like like there was a relay race or like just like miniature games that were really fun. And then whoever had the most points at the end would be the winner and you would get the bragging rights for the year. So it's really fun, super competitive, and it was a great way to meet people at the very beginning of the year.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here on a Saturday. They haven't mentioned this, but they are volunteers, so they're not being paid for this work. They just truly care about prospective students and helping you make a transition into college. So I'm hoping that a few of them can stay behind and answer some questions in the chat. So feel free, if you have more questions, they can answer those. But I'm going to go ahead and welcome up our next presenter, which is Julie Scott from the Office of Financial Aid. Get you your slides. Here we go, Julie.
Awesome. Thank you, Kayla. Well, it's a hard job to follow up our students because they're so exciting and the real folks who are living on our campus and experiencing everything. But I will say that I've got a really fun job here at Wichita State because our office connects students with over $100 million. Drop the mic, right? $100 million in financial aid and scholarships. And those funds are really meant to help supplement your family's resources to help pay for your different college expenses, such as housing, tuition and fees, and living expenses. And financial aid and scholarships are a really normal thing at Wichita State. Over 70% of our students utilize some type of financial aid, and even more of our students actually qualify. So Kayla, if you want to move on to the next slide for us. I do want to talk to you about how do you make sure that you meet the deadlines so that you don't miss out on some of that $100 million in financial aid and scholarships. So for those of you that have already heard from us about a merit scholarship or an incoming freshman scholarship or a transfer merit scholarship, earlier in the day, Bobby mentioned about National College Signing Day and that's on May 1, and we've got a fun scholarship competition actually running that day where you can post out on social media about your acceptance to Wichita State and that you've chosen Wichita State if that so is your choice on May 1. But it is also our deadline to accept scholarships. So we want to make sure that you go to your financial aid dashboard and go ahead and say, yep, I'm choosing Wichita State by accepting that scholarship. And then next, we have an enrollment deadline for students who are receiving scholarships of June 1. And then in July, we have an enrollment deadline if you're planning to use any grants that we have offered to you, and those can be viewed on your financial aid dashboard. And then parents, I know for those of you who are on the call, are asking, when are bills going to be available? When can I find out what this all is going to cost me? Well, we have put together really good estimates, again, also available on your student's financial aid dashboard, but your official bill becomes available from the Student Accounts Office in mid-July. And so that's when you get the official numbers to know what you'll owe for tuition and fees, as well as housing. So we can move forward to the different types of financial aid and our different ways to pay for college. So I know you guys are all on mute, but I'm just going to assume that you're going to love the first option to pay for college, because scholarships and grants are free money. We don't have to pay that back. It's gift aid, and it's based on either some type of merit that you have, and whether or not you're in band or extra clubs and organizations and your leadership skills, or these grants might be based on financial need. But they're a great resource to pay for college because you never have to pay them back. Now, the second resource that our students will often use to pay for college is going to come out of either personal savings, whether that's from a parent, a grandparent, or the student themselves. It might be part-time work, so maybe working 20 to 30 hours per week, or working on a work study job here on campus. And this is really earned or saved money that you have. And then third, we have the option of student loans. And so students, you can borrow up to $5,500 your freshman year. That amount increases a little bit as you progress through your time at Wichita State and become a sophomore, junior, senior. And then parents, if you're needing some extra funds to maybe help pay for housing, for instance, you can borrow through the federal government a Parent Plus loan that can help meet those costs. Or as a family, you might decide that you want to go out to a private loan company, and you can look at different loan options with that. And we're happy to kind of walk you through those processes within our office. So Kayla, we can move on to our next slide. So taking all that information from the previous slide, how do we actually balance our costs against our personal contributions, what we get from FAFSA, as well as college contributions? So that's coming from Wichita State. So as you think about your budget as a family, it's thinking about what can each person contribute? What is the federal government going to offer to us? And then how does Wichita State actually also supplement those different costs? And then families, I'm very passionate about this last little bullet that's on this slide that talks about, if your finances change, come talk to us. And so if you have a need that we're not aware of, because when you filled out your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, it wasn't really reflective of what's going on today in your family, please schedule an appointment with our office. We are more than happy to meet with you and talk about different options that we might have to help your family out. This personally happened to me when I was in my senior year of high school, that my dad was laid off from his job suddenly. And so I went into the financial aid office, scheduled an appointment with them, and they collected some additional information from me. And by the time I had my situation completely evaluated, I ended up qualifying for a Pell Grant when I initially wasn't going to qualify. So come talk to us. And then last, I have on our next slide, just a couple of action items for you as families to make sure that you're successful once you hit campus in August. And so we still have a little over 5 months before you're going to land here at Wichita State. And so this is where we really want to encourage families to start talking about costs in the next couple of weeks. When you're in that housing system and you're choosing which room you want, really be mindful of which room option is going to cost certain amounts, and making good mindful decisions. Families, my personal advice to you about costs is to start by opening up the cell phone bill and showing it to your student, and starting to talk about, how do we build a budget and who's going to be responsible for which types of costs when you go to college next year. Next, don't forget to meet those deadlines that we had on that early slide of May 1, June 1, July 1. And then students, here's a task item for you in particular. As you are talking to your high school counselor over the next month or so, they can connect you to great community scholarships. And there are a lot of dollars out there still on the table in your home communities, especially if you're even from a smaller community, where that American Legion, the Lions Club, all those different organizations are wanting to connect you with outside scholarships that you can bring to Wichita State. And I know you're like, oh my goodness, Julie, I'm not going to win those dollars. Trust me, if you will apply to those scholarships, our students at Wichita State bring over $3.5 million to Wichita State every year in outside scholarships. So I say it with a lot of integrity behind it that like students actually win. And then next, students, if you're working a part-time job right now, I'd really encourage you to put about 50% of it in the bank and save that money for your books, for a computer to take with you to Wichita State, as well as to start putting money away for your housing costs. So with that, I will pop some links in the chat and then answer some of the chat questions as well.
Great. Thanks so much, Julie. I did know there was a few questions for you in there, so I'll let you do that. And I do want to mention Julie is going to hang out a little bit after. If you have some questions you would like to chat with her in a separate room, we can set you up to do that as well. So just like earlier after Mandy's presentation, we're going to do a quick trivia. So students get ready to type quickly. I'll go ahead and go over to the next page and we'll be looking for the first answer in the chat here. What is the deadline for students to accept scholarships in their MyWSU portal?
Oh gosh, hold on. My chat is getting super long. Hold on, let me scroll up. Still scrolling up. Okay, it looks like Carson Westhoff said May 1st. That was the first person I saw.
Yep, that is correct. Nice job, Carson. And I apologize for the nice blue line through here. I'm not sure how that happened, so we'll try to figure that out during the next presentation. But I'm excited to have Aaron Hamilton join us from One Stop Student Services. So we are going to get him on, and Aaron, I'm going to fire up your slide here.
All right, thank you, Kayla. Yes, good morning, everyone. As she said, my name is Aaron Hamilton. I'm the director of One Stop Student Services. And what my office does is actually twofold. So if we could go to the next slide. The first thing we do, we work with you from the point of you are admitted to the point you graduate. Everything in between. We help you out with your financial aid, with your advising, with your student accounts, which is basically where you pay your bills, registration, so signing up for classes, getting your ordering your transcript, really kind of the business side of being a student. So all the transactions, we work with students on that from start to finish. And we have, on the next slide, I'll show you, we do that we do it on campus. So they're in Jardine Hall, which is right next to our student center. So if you've ever been on campus, if you've been to the student center, we're literally the next building on west of there. And so we do it there, but we also do the 24/7, we'll accept phone calls, we'll do chat, and it's live agents. So these are my staff that are helping you out 24 hours a day. So if there's a question and you're like, I don't know what the scholarship is, or I don't know why I have this $6 charge, we can actually log in with you and walk through that with you and explain, here's what's happening. This is why it's happening. And then we follow that up with an email with step-by-step. If there are next steps you need to take, like what's coming up next. So we do that all the time. And there were 2 hours in 2022 where we did not have students talking to us. And one of them was at 3 a.m., 3 to 4 a.m. on Christmas Day. And I can't remember the other hour, but other than that, we're helping students all the time. So students have questions at any time, we're there to help. The other thing that we do on the next slide is the advising process. So all of you are admitted, and this is why I really wanted to be on this call and talk to you this morning. So we actually started the enrollment process March 1st, so back on Wednesday. And what we do there is you should have gotten in the mail an invitation to sign up for orientation or RSVP for orientation. When you do that, you pick your day that you're going to go to orientation, but after you're done with the orientation piece, there's what we call an enrollment questionnaire. And on there, we ask all the questions to build your first schedule. So we ask, are you bringing in any concurrent enrollment or dual credit from a community college that you did while you were in high school? Are you, what the basics, like what are your major, those kind of things? Are you taking advanced placement or international baccalaureate credit? We take all these things into consideration, and I want to give you a heads up. It takes about 20, sometimes 25 minutes to fill this out. And on your end, after that, you're done. For us, we have like 53 pages of things that we look at to work on to actually help build your first schedule. So what we do is my advisors, my first year advisors, take that information that you've submitted and work on the first schedule. So we look at, if you're bringing in credits from somewhere else that you took while you're in high school, we just need screenshots, showing that. You don't need the full transcript yet. We need an official transcript this summer, but until then, we don't have to have it. The reason March 1st is important is no one on campus can enroll until April 4th. So we start with our graduate students, then our seniors, then juniors, sophomores, freshmen, except for you all. Our incoming class gets basically preferential treatment to come in, get your schedule locked down. And the reason we do that is we want to help you get the classes at the times you want and be able to explain why you're in those classes. So, for example, one of the classes that any student that has 30 or fewer credit hours coming in to Wichita State has to take is a first year seminar. And it's basically a class that's taught by a professor that usually teaches upperclassmen like juniors and seniors, but it's taught to the freshmen. So you're getting an interesting subject, you're getting a good teacher, but you're also, within those seminars, we mix in kind of how to be a student. So here's resources you need, here's how to write a paper, here's all these different things that are built into the class. So we explain why we have you do that, because students come in and be like, I don't know why I need this class. And it's not an extra one. It costs the same as other classes, and it counts towards your general education. So it's not adding to your workload. It's just one of the classes. But we can explain that. We can get in and explain why I put you in Calculus 1 at 11 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. because you said on your questionnaire that you're not a morning person. And I don't want to put you in a really hard math class first thing in the morning if that's not when your brain is firing and ready to go. So we take a lot of different things into account and work on that. We build it, we send you an email, and also we'll send a postcard after a few days and say, hey, your schedule's ready. You log into my WSU. You use your ID that you got when you got admitted, and you create a password, and basically you can say, yes, I accept this schedule, or no, I have questions. If you have questions, then my advisors reach out and we talk through, okay, well, what's going on? What are you concerned about? Or what do we need to do here? And we go from there. So initially, you don't have to come to campus for any of this. We do it all through Zoom, through phone calls, whatever, the students are comfortable with. But in the summer, we will meet you in person. That's when you'll meet your first year advisor in person. And we have advisors for each of the academic colleges that make up the university. And they work with you all through your whole first year. So I'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute. But with the actual schedule, you basically have 10 days to make a decision. And then after that time period, we unenroll you and we have to start the process over. So next slide, please. So this is just kind of a sample timeline of how the process works. So from March 1st to July 31st, that's when we build the schedule for you. Starting in August, that's when you have to come actually in person to get this done. And I will tell you that building your schedule, if you do it in March or April, you're probably going to get the schedule you want. If you wait till May, it gets a little tougher because the prime time classes are filling up and the ones that everybody wants are filling up. And if you wait till June, then that's where we get into it. The longer you wait, the more challenging it gets to get the classes that you want at the times you want. it's really the times that are the challenge. Getting into the classes, we can make that happen, but getting the times you want. So I really encourage you to, as early as you can, do this. And I want to be full disclosure. I know all of you are admitted, but that doesn't mean you're committed. So every year we have students that, this time of year, they're deciding what school am I going to go to. And we'll have students that, it's between us and the Air Force Academy. And if they choose, they get accepted to the Air Force Academy and they go there, at least they had their schedule built in case they didn't go to another school. I pick on the Air Force Academy because every year we end up losing at least one student in the Air Force Academy. It makes me mad. And I'm like, worked hard with that student. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, June through August, we'll have the in-person orientation events. And then your first year advisor, if you click the button again, we'll meet with you in person in September. So really, it says October, that bottom middle block there says October, the beginning of the spring semester, but we really started in September. And we meet with you in person. The entire freshman class we meet with in person, and we talk about how our class is going, how you doing being away from home, are you getting into a rhythm, do you know about supplemental instruction and tutoring. Our entire goal is to help you be successful. That first year, we're in charge of kind of laying the groundwork to get you set so you understand everything that you have available to you and have a place where, with this first year advisor, that you can go to, that's a comfortable place, that you can trust them, that they're going to be advocating for you and with you. And then next year at this time is when we transfer, or you transition off to your academic college. So if you're majoring in psychology, for example, you would move from your first year advisor to the College of Liberal Arts and Science Advising Center and go from there. So this is a list of the first year advisors. Kelsey, Applied Studies, that is education, College of Education, sport management is in there. And then we have 2 advisors for engineering because we have so many engineering students that come in. So we split it up by last name with Casey and Monica. Ellie and Kendra, they do the liberal arts and sciences, again, because there's so many liberal arts students that come in. So liberal arts would be like psychology, sociology, criminal justice, communications, those kind of classes. And then Brittany, she works with all the fine arts students. So if you're looking at studio arts or game design, any of that, that's all with Brittany. Michelle does business, and Hannah works with all the health professions students. So I will say health professions is nursing, pre-physical therapy, health science, laboratory sciences. Pre-med sits actually, if you're thinking about studying to be a doctor, it actually sits in liberal arts and sciences. So, well, I'll make sure we get you to the right advisor. And that is my direct phone number and email. So if you need anything, feel free to call or email. And I put our 855 number on there. That's the one that goes 24/7. But yeah, we want to help you get through that first year. We want to help you be successful. And I will, like the other speakers, I'll be in a room to answer questions. Unless Kayla, you want me to answer any right now, I'd be happy to help with that too.
I don't know that I saw many for you right now, but I would also encourage you guys, if you want to, you can always send it in the chat, and I'm sure Aaron can look for that as well. So thanks so much, Aaron.
Yes.
All right, everybody knows what time it is. So we just finished a presentation. We're going to do another quick trivia question. So get ready to fire up those fast typing fingers. Let's see what question we got next. When does the online RSVP open for orientation? The hint is it's the same date that freshmen may complete their pre-enrollment questionnaires.
Whoa, okay, hold on. Still scroll. I need to scroll up. Okay, March 1st, the first person who said that was Dakota Wyden.
Oh, good job, Dakota.
Yay.
I remember Dakota because Dakota was also at a virtual event I did, and she won something in the fall. So congrats, Dakota, and we got your name down as one of the trivia winners. All right, we have just a few more things here, and I appreciate you guys hanging with us. I know we're going a couple minutes over, but don't want to miss these last few things for you all. I do want to talk quickly about an exciting day that's coming up at the end of this month called WSU. And if you have not heard of that, I'm not sure how that's possible because we have been trying to make sure admits get it in the mail, email to them, email to parents, all of the information. But this is a day exclusively for our admitted students. You can come to campus, and what I love about it is it's a build your own day. So you can kind of see a list of just a few things that will be going on that day. You can meet with a representative from your academic area. If you haven't registered for orientation and done the pre-enrollment, you can do it that day, get some help that day with it. We're going to have a experience fair where you can meet different student organizations. There's also an on-campus job fair, so never too early to be seeking out opportunities to work on campus. There will be a really cool signing booth. It's a great photo opportunity, some chances for book scholarships, great opportunities to meet other future shockers. We do what we call huddles. So like all students from Oklahoma meet up at a certain time to hang out. There's going to be some mock classes that day that are taught by faculty and many, many more things that go on that day. So if you're not registered for it and you're available, the registration is still open. It's wichita.edu/WSU. And again, the day is Saturday, March 25th. It's a come and go event between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And you do not need to be here the entire day. You're welcome to come and go as you please that day. So that's it for me on WSU. I'm going to have Quinn share her screen because here's the exciting time. We're going to do our scholarship drawing for everyone that was in attendance. So let me stop my share or attempts to. Ooh. Sorry, Quinn.
Alrighty, can you see my screen? A nice little wheel?
We can.
Okay, perfect. So I've only done this once. So I'm going to click it and we're going to have our winner.
Everyone, virtual drum roll.
Drum roll.
Whatever you do.
Oh, Evan, yay, congratulations. I will write your name down. So we will get that figured out on our end, but congratulations, scholarship winner.
Woo, congrats, Evan. All right, I have just a few more things that I wanted to show before we go. I have a really quick video I want to show everybody just to kind of show you the excitement that's happening here at Wichita State right now. So let me get this fired up and then we will dismiss. All right, everyone. So that is all that we have for you today. But actually, nope, I take that back. I have a couple more trivia prizes to give away. So staff, be ready. I have 3 questions because we have a couple more, again, prizes to give away. So if you're still on, we're going to do a quick trivia. Again, this will be type in the chat. Whoever gets the answer right first will be one of our trivia winners. So my first question is, name any restaurant that's located on the Wichita State campus.
Oh, whoa. Okay, hold on. Chats are piling up. Let's see. Ariel said Chick-fil-A. I know what you were meaning, but Chick-fil-A, yay, which is correct.
That is correct. Nice job. And there were, of course, lots of possible correct answers, but Chick-fil-A is a very popular one. So nice job, Ariel. All right, I got 2 more. What athletic conference does Wichita State compete in? Actually, not sure this was on a slide today.
Okay, let's see. Everyone's saying, okay, Division I is correct, but I'm pretty sure the official one is NCAA, right?
It is not. I'm looking for either, is there anybody that said American Athletic Conference or AAC? Might have been a tough one.
Yes.
Like it's Mason.
Mason Stone said ACC.
Okay.
Because I was wrong too.
The American Athletic Conference, yes, that's Wichita State's current conference that we compete in. Again, I think that one was a little harder since I don't know that it was on a slide today. Okay, last one, and I really hope that you all get this right because I hope you're familiar with this, but what phone app allows you to connect with other future shockers?
Oh,
for the name of the app.
Yeah, lots of people. Okay, but I saw it was Patrick Ryan, Zemi.
Yes, good job,
Hey, Patrick.
Yep, so you can see on the screen there the link to Zeme. If you're not in there, I would encourage you to get in there. Lots of students find roommates through Zeme. I actually know that a couple of our student ambassadors who were on earlier found roommates through Zeme. It's also just a good way to connect and ask questions with other future students. Hopefully, if you come to WSU, you could meet up with some of them there as well. So that is finally all that we have for you today. So we appreciate you all being here. Know that we will get those gifts mailed out to you probably later this coming week. Also for our trivia winners, we'll get those mailed to you as well. If you have any questions about first year advising or the enrollment questionnaire, if you have questions about financial aid or housing, I would encourage you to hang around. But otherwise, thanks so much for being here today. We really appreciate it and have a great weekend. So if you are staying and you'd like to talk to somebody, if you could let us know in the chat who you would like to talk to, if you could either say housing, financial aid, or if you could say one stop or advising, that would help us out here. I'm going to stop sharing. Erin, we're going to have you stay in the main room for anyone that has questions for you. And then we're going to send Julie to a breakout room for housing questions, and Mandy, or sorry, Julie, you probably don't want to answer housing, for financial aid, and Mandy, if anyone has housing questions.
I have Jacqueline. Okay, Sophia to financial aid. Sorry, I am doing this by hand, so excuse me, just wait a little longer. Sophia. Okay, I am going to open those rooms for those two who's going to financial aid.
Don't forget to send Julie with them.
Oh, dang it. Hold on. Hold on. Go in your sign too. There we go. And then Mandy. Going to housing.
You might get a pop-up that asks if you want to be moved to a room. So if you're requesting that, just look for that pop-up so you can get moved over to the appropriate room.
Okay. So
Quinn, do you mind muting so people can start asking Erin questions?
Oh, yep. And I am an external thinker.
You're good. Okay, I think some of you guys that are still in this main room may have questions about one stop or first year advising. So at this point, I would just ask if you want to unmute, you can just unmute and ask Erin your question here.
Yes, and Quinn, can you set me up to share my screen? Because I was going to show everybody where to find that orientation RSVP / enrollment questionnaire.
Yes, I will make you co-host so that's easier for you. Okay, I think you are co-host now, so I think you should have that option.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up real quick, everyone. So, okay, share screen. So for those of you looking to get started on orientation or go ahead and get started on enrollment, I went to Wichita.edu / orientation. I put that in the chat. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, we can see it fine, Erin. Looks good.
Okay. So once you're on the main screen, it'll say first year programs, that's where orientation sits. And when you scroll down right here where it says sign up for orientation, this first box right there, top third of the page, you click on that and it will bring up orientation, and you can go check out the orientation dates. You'll see what you need to actually sign up is down here about halfway down where it says sign up for New Shocker orientation. So you will need your MyWSU password, which, we can get that set up pretty easy through MyWSU. And when I say MyWSU, it's Wichita.edu / MyWSU. Actually, let me just show you. Wow, what did I do there? Okay, hang on just a second. Let me show you that one too. / MyWSU. So MyWSU, you go over here on the right and there's a login, and that is where you log in to actually see your schedule. So when you click on it, mine actually looks different because staff, I shouldn't show you that. Staff have to do this. You don't have to, but it's just this basic page that you see, and you just go to log in right there. And if you can't remember your password, you just click manage your password, and it'll do it all, and it'll send you a text to verify that, hey, you're definitely changing your password. So what questions do people have? I'm trying to find the chat. I'll stop sharing.
I do see one question from Caitlin. It says, do you do enrollment yet?
Yes. So once you fill out that orientation RSVP and do the enrollment questionnaire, that is that kicks off the whole process for us building your schedule. So when you go to this link here, sign up for orientation, once you sign up, you're in, and you can, when you click on this link, that's showing the staff stuff again. Sorry. You can basically, you click on that link, and once you do it, it triggers my staff. It sends an email to them and says, hey, this person has filled out everything. You need to go in and start working on their schedule. And that's when they'll start working with you and reaching out. Like we had a student on Wednesday, actually the first day to enroll. We had some questions about some of the transfer classes, so we reached out to that student. So, you know, keep an eye on your phone, because we'll text or email, either one, just to get clarification. Like, we want to make sure we have the right course number from wherever it was transferring in, to make sure we get you in the right class.
Can I ask a quick question in regards to orientation? If you have not made a final decision to come to Wichita, so we're still working through the financial part of this. So in order to, I mean, Wichita's our top college right now. Can we go ahead and do orientation and kind of work through the classes without, you know, saying, yes, I am for sure coming? Or do we have to wait until we work all the financial aid concerns out?
I don't think Bobby would like me saying this. I like for students to hedge their bets and say, okay, go ahead and build me a schedule, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to call and say, hey, I'm, you know, we couldn't make it work, or we're not coming for whatever reason, and we'll just drop those classes for you, and you don't have to pay for the classes until July and August. So there's plenty of time before then. So like for me, I always tell students, go ahead and we'll build you a schedule, and if you have to say no, you're not hurting our feelings. You're doing what's best for you. So we know that this is a personal decision, and but I like to have it in my back pocket just in case. That's what I like to do.
Okay, so the $160 orientation fee would be the only thing that if we couldn't make the finances work, then we would say, okay, that we would lose that fee.
That would be the only one, yes. As far as tuition and fees and all that, there wouldn't be anything lost there.
Okay.
Because like my staff, we build the schedule, we do our thing, and until you're ready to pay, you don't have to pay for our services.
Yeah, I do want to pop in because I just talked to the director of orientation or of student success recently, and that orientation fee actually gets added to your first semester bill. So you really are not paying that when you sign up for orientation. So if you don't come here and you end up dropping your classes, I guess I don't know, Aaron, if they still get billed for that, but I just want to make sure it's clear you don't pay that the same day that you sign up for orientation.
Oh, right. Yeah, it gets added to your bill. So if you, I don't know the answer on that one. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, but that's a good clarification. Yeah, you don't have to pay that until you get your initial bill.
I can look that up and respond to you and Dakota on that this week. So I'll find out if that's like just a one-off bill you still have to pay, or if since you don't come, you don't have to pay it. Because really, I think the orientation program fee is if you attend orientation. So yeah, I'll find out though.
And when you're looking at orientation dates, there's actually two tabs that freshmen should be looking at. So there's the regular dates that you can sign up for, but also these extended ones are overnight. So if you are coming from out of town, or you just want to stay on campus and see what it's like, these are taking place in June and July. These regular freshman orientation is just a 2-day But accommodations are not included. So you'd have to, if you're coming from out of town, you'd have to find a place to stay. Which we have a hotel on campus.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have questions for Erin about enrollment for first year students? Revising?
I have a question in regards to the application process and all the check marks that are on the side of the screen, you know, that we're going through. I think we're down to like meningitis and profile. And I think then the last one is, I guess, I don't know what the last one says. I don't have it right in front of me. But so when we got to the meningitis section, we uploaded all of her information and then it went to TB. I don't think I'd read anything about a TB eval, but we'll get that right now. So if we don't finish those last few action items, such as TB and information, does that mean that her application for the early bird submission she didn't make that? Because we did have the application part in by the 1st, but then it just kept going to the next step, to the next step. I guess that's the one stop. You know, it's like, oh, okay, so this is what one stop means. I'm just going to go ahead and just make sure every single action item is taken care of. And Jennifer and I, this is Mom, by the way, Jennifer had to leave, but she said, Mom, just sit and ask your question. So she and I have just been working on this, you know, faithfully, and now we're down to the end. Does that mean that it's not complete yet? Or, you know, what is this, where are we at?
Yeah.
I mean, what hurdle do we need to jump here still?
Yeah, if I'm thinking of the right screen that you're looking at, yeah, you need to complete that, because after that is when the enrollment questionnaire comes up, after you finish the entire RSVP for orientation. But I know like the TB
I did get to the RSVP, the orientation RSVP was before the meningitis. That's early on. And I believe her advisor even reached out to her already in regards to her schedule, had some questions about
oh, good.
some
Okay.
classes, etc. So we've gotten past that. Now we're at the very bottom of the action items. So,
Gotcha. Those you have time, like you'll still be able to get, does your daughter go to North?
Kingwood.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm trying to think of that TB. For enrollment purposes, she's good. TB, you just get it on file before classes start. And we do that because of the dorms, that meningitis. You know, just having that large group of people living together that coming from kind of all over the place.
Right. And I understand that. It's not,
yeah, if you could.
That was just a hurdle that, like, you know, we were trying to get everything in by that March 1st, and did we not make it because of all these other items where, you know.
Oh no, you're good there. As far as the timeline, you're good. We got till July 31st really before you'd have any issues with any of that.
Okay.
But I can, do you mind having your daughter just reply to her advisor and say, hey, I have a question about this, and that way they can, because they can actually log into her screen and see. I'm trying to do it from memory, but they could actually log in and see what she's seeing and give it specific answers.
Okay, yeah, we were actually gonna wait until Monday and you know, get somebody on the phone, if not her advisor, one of your staff members, once we got this TB taken care of today, because of this question. But I thought, well, okay, since we're open for questions and you're here, I'd go ahead and bring it up. But yeah, for sure, I'll have her reach out and just get clarification on everything. Yeah.
Okay. And if you, for that particular clarification, I wouldn't call the 855 number. I'd call our direct line, the 316.
Okay.
Because that'll come straight to my advisors.
Okay, so I took a picture of the screen earlier with all your information.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Go Shockers.
Thanks. We're excited to have her. Bailey, I see your question. I don't think there are too many students left on here, but we definitely have admitted students from Wisconsin other than yourself. But I don't know if they were on our virtual event today, but definitely use Zeme and see if there are any students in Zeme who are from Wisconsin in there that you can connect with. Does anyone else have questions before we have our speakers jump off and close the room for today? Last call.
I actually missed the orientation yesterday. Is it too late to get into it again?
No, you can still sign up for orientation and get into that. So you're good. We'll keep doing that from March 1st all the way through to July 31st.
Oh.
So yeah, you're good.
Actually, I have a question about the hotel on campus. We are coming to Texas, and she is signed up orientation, the overnight stay in June. What is the hotel on campus? Do you have a name? I mean, I guess I can look it up online, but do y'all know?
Yeah, and Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's a Hyatt, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's called
Wichita
Hyatt
State.
Place
That's it.
at WSU or Hyatt Place at Wichita State.
Okay, I will look them
And
up.
Jennifer, I would encourage you to call them when you make a reservation because I understand they may be able to give you a discounted rate if you say you're visiting the university. So I think that's only available if you call versus like booking online.
Okay, I will do that. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, Bailey said that they've stayed there and it was a beautiful hotel. It is very new, so it's pretty modern. Great space there.
It's
Okay.
nice. We actually stayed there when my daughter went for her campus visit, even though we live in town.
That's awesome. Somebody just put in the chat the information. Hold on, where is that?
Oh, good. Hi.com. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Good,
Thanks,
good.
Jill.
Thanks,
On
Jill.
that. Thank you so
I
much.
used to, and I have stayed there myself because I'm a regional based in Missouri, and it is a nice, and you can't beat the location. Close to everything on campus. So
Good. Okay.
All right. Well, assuming there are no other questions, I want everyone to be able to enjoy the rest of their Saturday. It's pretty nice here. It's like 60 degrees today, so I'm excited to get outside, but appreciate our panelists being here, admissions staff and students and parents who are still on. Thanks so much. And hopefully we'll see you guys at WSU, if not in the fall.